All right, the meeting is now streaming in Facebook Live, and if you're tuned in, welcome to another edition of the Educators Roundtable. I'm Karen Gray with MK Results, educator, and it is Teacher Appreciation Week, guys. I mean, like the time of year that we celebrate. And being on a campus, I often used to love celebrating teachers because all of the hard work that they do behind the scenes. They're not only teachers, they're counselors, they're moms, they're parents, they're friends. They're helping kids out through everyday struggles. So we just want to appreciate you and love on you and say thank you. Be sure to check out our Barrier Breakers page. We're giving away $100 a day to anyone who leaves, drop your Cash App and comment. So let's get started. And I'm going to introduce Andrea. Go ahead and get us started.
Hey guys, it's Andrea Hall here. I am broadcasting live from Birmingham, Alabama. Roll Tide. It's so good to be here, and I'm so thankful for everyone that's tuning in.
Awesome. All right, and Danielle.
I'll go. All right, I'm Dr. Jones in Killeen, Texas right now. Hailing from working at Grambling State oftentimes, but definitely in Killeen. Excited about today's discussion.
Absolutely. All right, and Toya.
Hi guys, how's it going? It's Toya, broadcasting here from Texas, just right down the road. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, how's it going? It's Toya, broadcasting here from Texas, just right down the road. Can you hear me?
Calm down.
I'd just like to say thank you guys. I'm so excited to be here tonight with you. Woohoo! Teacher Appreciation and Cinco de Mayo all in one day. Woo woo.
Toya, calm down.
And Danielle, let's see if she's connected. Let's see.
Hey y'all.
Here we go, Danielle.
Hey friends. Happy Happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive right into it. We have a new segment. Last week we played this or that. This week we have a new segment called Asking for a Friend. So hello guys, I'm going to be asking you just a question, a topic that's been up. I know you guys have noticed something different about me this week. I wonder what it is, right? It's my hair. I decided to change it and do something a little different. But I'm asking for a friend this week because sometimes, especially for women of color, but women in general too, there's been a lot of issues with hair. Recently in Barbers Hill, there was last year someone who was not even allowed to graduate and suspended from school because they had dreadlocks. So I'm asking for a friend, what's hair really got to do with it?
You know, coming from a point of view of a man that's had a lot of issues with hair my entire life, I just think it's out of control that they would decide to suspend the kid because he had braces. No, I mean braids, excuse me, but braids, right? He had the dreads.
I think he had dreads.
Yeah, it was dreads.
The superintendents and the principals, and that issue was really, really bothering me, you know, because one, he was about to graduate. So he's obviously been in school for like 3-4 years already. And then to come to that at the last minute of the last day of the last week of school, you know, just to tell them that, hey, you can't graduate, that's crazy. You know, I've been in a place where you've had some wild dress codes, and you can try to follow them as administrators, but for them to just bring it up after you've been matriculating on that campus for years, it's suspect. It's very suspect. I'm glad he got the transfer though. That's for sure. I mean, I'm horrible. It's horrible that he had to leave the school, but you know, for him to still be able, I don't know if he graduated or not, but
I think it was delayed severely. I think, you know, I'm with you, Harrison. You know, when we allow situations like that to perpetuate, and we allow schools to say, you know what, you know, this year you can't graduate if you have this or if you have that. You know, I just feel like it reminds me of that poem, and I may not quote it well, but it was basically having to do with the Holocaust, where it said first they came for, you know, the Jews, but I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for the Christians, but I wasn't a Christian, so I didn't say anything. Then they came for me, and there was no one else to speak up for me. It's like, if we allow this to continue to happen, I feel like next year it'll be like what anybody with braids, not dreads anymore. Now, if anybody with braids can't graduate, and then we don't say anything, or we just raise a little fuss, and then next year it's like, well, anybody who has natural hair, your hair looks, you know, untamed, what we consider, you know, afro, and it's not tamed, you can't graduate. And the next time, oh, anybody who has lashes and long nails and helmet hair. I remember my cheerleader coach used to call it helmet hair, when your hair was, you know, finger wave and it couldn't move. You know, if we allow those things, they're discriminations. If we allow those biases and those discriminations to continue to fester, that's exactly what they're going to do. Starting with that young man situation, that should have been a no. And excuse my French, that should have been a hell no. Everybody in that community, everybody on that campus should have said, wait a minute, now we're taking it too far. Because graduation symbolizes the fact that he's completed his academic requirements. It doesn't mean that he completed it fashionably. It doesn't mean that he completed it the way I thought he should have completed it, because I think he's cute or he's not cute, or his dreads are long or not long. That's not what graduation symbolizes. And so to make it about his hair was totally out of bounds, because it took the whole meaning out of graduation, and that was wrong.
You know, I had in grad school, when I was working on my master's, I did a paper on dress codes. And the idea of dress codes was that they were inherently biased and that they were discriminatory. And if you look at the reasons why they create these dress codes, I remember at school I was at, they said no beards and no long hair. You know, like, but if you're a guy with long hair, you can't wear it. And like, you know, beards, you know, that's what, you know, what it is. And I've been at a school where they said no stars on the shoes. Like, it's specifically tailored for specific students in order for them to come. Like, no Jordans. Like, I had a school with no Jordans. Like, why do you have no Jordans? That makes no sense.
What about Johnson's?
You know, like,
can I wear Jackson's?
I'm done with you. Hey, I wore hammer times. British Knights, you know, BK. I wore hammer pants too, boy. It was low in the middle. I was like, what about the hammer pants?
Exactly.
I don't remember no dress code back in my day. I just really don't. I don't know. Do you guys think that we should go to everybody having uniforms then?
you don't want to have it like Freaknik at the school. That's for
Huh?
sure. No, you don't want to, because it'll be out of, I'm sorry, from a male's point of view, you got to have some kind of dress code.
That's what I said. What do you think about uniforms? You think we should just all go across the board uniforms?
Man, I don't know.
What is the answer? Well, I don't know. It's California. You know, they had their decision on a hair case whenever the governor, I believe, he enacted that there would be no discrimination in the workplace for women of color to have natural hair. Like,
wow.
It can't be discriminated. So I'm thinking, like, little by little, each state is coming across. It has the same thing with the movement of civil rights, the same movement with Jim Crow laws, on and so forth. I think it's going to make its wave across to where people will not be able to discriminate against hair. Like, I didn't like the fact that guy was doing that wrestling thing, and the lady was like, "I'm going to cut your dreads off." It had to cut his dreads off just so he can wrestle. Like, I feel like that kid knew he was going to get beat, so they were like, "He has dreads." I got faux locks right now. These ain't real dreads. My hair is connected underneath here. It's faux locks. I wish somebody would say something.
The most part about that event was that he had a coach. He had a coach, and he had people mentor. He had people with him that were like, you know what? You need to cut your dreads.
I know. That's messed up.
I would have been like, listen, we don't need the state championship. We don't need their money. We don't need that. We're going to let you go and do what you got to do, brother. If you want it, go for it. If you don't, we can go home.
Right.
Somebody should have kneeled. That's when somebody should have kneeled. How about that?
Yeah, it's out of control.
Out of bounds.
Like out of pocket. Like, who are you as a teacher that you can't tell your kid to believe in themselves and be who they are and own their own person?
That's
you know,
good. That's
for you to tell somebody that they have to, like, oh, in order to win some stupid trophy, you know, like, I get it, it's a state championship, but you win more when you're being yourself than when you decide to follow and succumb to the rules of other people. That's always the truth in every profession.
Yeah.
Every profession. You win more when you're yourself than if you
One
try
thing
to.
about the hair, too, I do want to say that people need to recognize that, like, even if I change my hair, I'm still the same person. You know, Black women change their hair a lot,
Yes.
often, and
Yep.
it's okay. It's just
Right.
something that I like to do.
Right.
And so people need to know that I'm still Miss Guillory. I'm still the same person. You know, I just have, this is the way I express myself is with my hair, and
Right.
everybody's hair is beautiful. And that's
Right.
the mindset we need to start thinking about, you know. So,
I think everybody stayed in their lane. You don't have a lot of that going on. Stay in your lane. Worry about you. If you don't like what somebody else is doing, is it hurting you? Did you get stabbed? Did you get shot because I'm over here rocking this or this person is doing this? That's what I feel. People just don't have enough know-how to just stay in their lane. Worry about what's going on in their box, in their house, in their life. That's what we're missing. A lot of people are like, ooh, I had a dream where I was like, this is one girl, she or guy, whatever, is focused on what this other person's doing. This other person is like shining, just doing their things, and they're just like getting all the accolades and they're doing all their stuff. And then there's that one person who's like, do you see what she's doing? Do you see what she did today? Do you see this? I'm like, all that energy that you spent worried about what Susie Q is doing over there, because Susie Q minding her business and her best life, you don't receive your blessing. You don't receive, you don't even know who you are as a person, because you want to be like, look what she's doing. And you're telling us, I said, that just baffles me that people can't see through that person and say, listen, chill. It's okay, whatever they're doing. Mind you, why don't you do you?
Right.
I just had the thought. I was dreaming about it. But don't worry.
Right. Like Little Man, Big Man says, instead of worried about what somebody else is doing, you could have been trying to get you a big bag.
Exactly. Exactly.
You brought up a good point though, Latoya. Like, what is it? Is it important dress code nowadays? Everybody's school is online now. So what are the kids wearing now? Can you kick your kid off of the Zoom because they're sagging? Can you kick a kid off of the Zoom because they're, like wearing a halter top? Like, what are we going to kick kids out for now? Like, the dress code was for in-person teaching. Now you got forced to have those kids in there. Because I knew a lot of teachers, and I know this is going to make some people mad. I knew a lot of teachers that weaponized the dress code.
Yes.
Yeah. So as soon as they see a kid, they look, your pants are low, too low. You need to go to Dr. You need to go to Dr. Jones. Like, automatically. And all you would do as the principal is like, oh, here's a zip tie, zip it up. Like, it was, especially in alternative schools. When schools had uniforms, that's what they abuse those sagging and rules and stuff like that. Right. So it's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Excuse my language, but it's like if you don't have a dress code, everybody's gonna wear what they want. If you do have a dress code, then you're gonna be discriminating against somebody at some point. And so it's a tough call because I don't know. It's I think there are definitely bias. Me personally, we go to college, they don't tell us what to wear.
No. But what they will do is lock that door if you're not there on time. So my thing is, let's focus on the things that students can transfer from a traditional school setting, not just to college, but to life, period. Yes, we should talk about how we dress and teach them how to dress according to the occasion and the time and the place. But it's a way to teach that without being discriminatory. But what we ought to be focusing on is like work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And different things like that, as opposed to something really trivial as, dress code.
Well, you know what I tell you about a little bit of power, absolute power.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So therefore, if you got that little bit of power, you feel like, I'm in control. I'm like, you in control of some 11 and 12-year-old kids. Is that important, that power? I was just asking my husband about the power. I said, what do dictators, because May the 4th be with you was yesterday.
Right.
I asked him, I said, what is this Sith Lord doing? After he conquers the whole planet, what's he gonna do? And he was like, well, he just has the power. I go, but he has the power to do this, but what then? You can't, the person can't talk back. There's no creativity being made, no nothing. No newness coming up, no nothing. What does he get? He goes, well, he'll have to find something else to do. I go, but he conquered everything. What is he doing? I'm confused. Why does he need this power? I need a Sith Lord in Rhea and Ren and Ben and Ten and Skywalker. What they doing? I don't know. It is what it is.
Speaking of Sith Lords, Elon Musk, I'm just obsessed with that dude. I don't know why, but I'm not too obsessed with him. He just said he's gonna sell all of his possessions and his house.
Who?
And Elon Musk, the guy that does Tesla and he said he's selling all of his possessions and he's not even gonna own a house. You know,
that's beautiful. Well, can he sell me a Tesla? Well, actually, can I just have a Tesla?
Or just
I know, we're gonna sell it to you, girl.
Yeah, just give it away.
What I need to ask Elon Musk is will my hair matter if I go talk to him and I'm buying a Tesla? It probably, what will matter is that money, okay?
Yeah.
Your credit.
And stating that, you have to understand that my hair does not define me, that it's a way, like Danielle said, we express ourselves as part of our culture. And sometimes it takes a while for a Black girl to really love her hair, love her. So we have to start understanding that kids in school, things like that, all the microaggressions, things like that, all that plays in. It kind of attacks who we are because we're just trying to really express ourselves in a world that sometimes tells us we don't belong.
Right.
So, with that being said, let's go into our very first topic. And the topic is, we're talking about people who changed you for better or for worse. So we all have stories of someone who, influenced our life, impacted us, and made that positive impact where it allowed us to change who we are for the better. But we also encounter people in life that sometimes change us, even for the better, but they change us. Their lesson is different. That delivery of the lesson we received is not quite a positive experience. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start sharing who is your person that influenced you, or positive or negative.
I heard cricket.
Well, I'm gonna say, just from my point of view, in 2004, I was sitting in college, and I remember turning on the TV and turning on to the Democratic Convention, the Democratic National Convention, and I remember Barack Obama was making a speech against the war in Iraq. And I remember sitting there and thinking that, having been at that time, I was kind of in the military, kind of about to get in it. And I was thinking the audacity of a man of his stature, who he was, because before Barack Obama, we had very few African-American leaders that actually kind of had a stature and eloquence that kind of stood above the rest. And for him to stand up there and talk the way he was talking and move the way he was moving, it assured me that there is a possibility for something greater. And I think that seeing what Barack Obama did back in 2004, and I remember watching the speech like it was yesterday, sitting in front of the TV, and the way he was talking, it was just like, man, you could have a position in leadership. And that showed me that it was possible, and all the things he did. Like 4 years later, 2004, I was in college studying math, then 2008, I was a second-year teacher, and that actually helped me decide to go ahead and try to get my master's degree. One of the reasons why I decided to go and get my master's degree and try to become a principal. And so I think that, Barack Obama by far in my life, as far as, leadership and stature and just overall just being a stand-up guy, he was the one that influenced me to not necessarily change, but he actually pushed me in the direction of possibility back in, let's say, 2004.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say, and I want to stay in the positive lane and just focus on who made me better. The Andrea that you see today was influenced by a number of people in her life, both in positive ways. And I don't take a negative and say that in negative ways. I'm gonna say in the negative positive ways, you know, because it still all turned out for my good. I'm just a Romans 8:28 type of person. Even though the bad was bad, it was still for my good. And so if I had to start with like the very beginning, thank you, Karen. If I had to start with the very beginning of my, I'm gonna say my metamorphosis.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a dynamic trio. Some people had dynamic duos. I had a dynamic trio when I was in high school. And shout out to everybody from A.H. Parker High School. A.H. Parker High School gets to boast as being the first high school that African Americans could attend over here in Birmingham, Alabama, when they couldn't go anywhere else. And so there's a lot of history that just exudes all through that school and through that name. So shout out to all the Bison. But I started off at A.H. Parker High School as a 9th grade freshman, and I was trying to find my way. You know, I wanted to fit in because I had been in private school for all my life up to 7th grade. I spent 1 year of public school as an 8th grader, and 9th grade was only my 2nd year in public school, being around kids that didn't look like me. As a matter of fact, I borrowed a church member's address just to go to A.H. Parker High School because I lived on the other side of town. I wasn't even zoned for A.H. Parker High School, you know? So here I am, I'm down here, and I'm right across the street from a much noted housing project. Again, kids that look nothing like me, come from various and different backgrounds, nothing like me, but I wanted to be like them so bad. And what people don't understand is when people are trying to be like you want to pay attention because we think we know what we look like. And I've always thought I knew what I looked like until I see somebody trying to emulate me. And I go, really? Do I sound like that? Really? Do I talk like that? Really? Do I act like that? And so anyway, that's a side note. That's free. But coming back to this fact that here I'm trying to be like all these people around me, right? And what that meant to me was it meant that I had to act real hard. I had to be real scruffy. I had to curse. I wanted to, you know, wear my hair like my cheerleader coach used to call it helmet hair. I wanted to make sure I had the finger waves and the French roll, nothing could swing and wave. You know, I needed a lot of gel in my hair, and I wanted to draw my eyebrows on real dark and heavy. Like that's come back, but back in the day, like that was just starting then. I just wanted to look and act a certain way, right? I said all that to say this. I had it all wrong. It was nothing wrong with wanting to be like the people around me. It was just the fact that I lost myself in doing that. And so I'm in the hallway one day and I'm trying to act like this girl that I had called myself befriending. I was befriending her because actually she really started out as a bully of mine. So to keep her from whooping my poop, I decided that I just try to act like her, be like her, befriend her to stay safe. And that's what I did. Well, this girl, oh my God, she was disrespectful to adults. She cursed excessively. She just carried herself in a way that really, if I look back now, I'm like, that is not you. But I was trying to be like her. Long story short, I'm in the hallway and I'm cursing up a storm. This teacher say something to me. I'm like, you tell me what to do, knowing I don't act like this. This is what I do, right? All of a sudden, this lady comes out of her classroom. Now, I've called her names. I'm sure she's out there. She's probably watching right now. Miss Janice Drake, the cosmetology teacher, the VICA coordinator, which is Vocational Industrial Clubs of America coordinator. She comes out of her room or out of her doorway because she heard me. She was like, she said nothing to anybody else that was cursing because it wasn't their voice that resonated. It was mine because it was like, wait a minute, I know that's not her. I know that's not her cursing like that. And she came and she grabbed me. I'm like, she's like, oh, don't try to show off. Don't even try to show off in front of all these people. She pulled me to the side and she asked me, why are you talking like that? Why are you acting like that? I'm like, I don't know. Like looking around, trying to see who's watching. She's like, exactly. You don't know because that's not you. Stop it now. So I'm like, okay, long story short, she took me under her wings. She groomed me, y'all. She groomed me. She taught me how a young lady is supposed to talk, how a young lady is supposed to act, how a young lady is supposed to dress, what a real young lady would allow, what a not so real young lady would allow. She taught me all of it. Coupled with my cheerleader coach, Michelle Harris. Michelle said, hey, y'all have to carry yourself a certain way. You're not just a cheerleader. You're a role model. You've got to be somebody on and off the court. Who cares if they shout your name on top of a pyramid, but in the hallways, you're a totally different person and nobody can even look up to you and respect you. Who cares? It doesn't match up. What they see on the court that's supposed to be so, they better see that same dynamic in the hallway. And she taught me that The front face needs to match the back face. How you act on Monday ought to be the same way you act on Tuesday. She taught me that. And then of course, last, I got to give shout out to Regina Carr Hunter. She was our assistant principal. She took me under her wings as her teacher's, I was about to say teacher's pet. I mean, her principal's assistant. I was a student assistant. And long story short, Ms. Hunter taught me how to handle business. She taught me how to answer the phone. She taught me how when you answer the phone, thank you for calling A.H. Parker High School. This is Andrea. How may I help you? And everybody's like, who's that? Where'd that voice come from? You don't answer the phone going, this Parker, what's up? Who you want me to connect you to? Okay. She's like, no. She taught us how to carry ourselves. And even to this moment, I know how to turn it on and I know how to turn it off. But the point is, those three, they put it in me. Y'all so silly, y'all shut up.
No, I didn't even know she was gonna clap like that. I just did it on my own.
Wow.
Preach. I don't have an inspirational story like that.
But there's so many people like in our community that help build us up. And that's the important piece of this all, that we have to have more people coming out and supporting, especially our young students. We have to keep encouraging them and make sure that we're talking to them. You know, that's really important, to make sure that we have people around us that can support us.
Right.
Oh, well, I had the opposite, but I can't really say per se how I want to say it. I got too many people listening in. I was watching them watch me. So mine is a different aspect. I know how Andrea was like, I don't want to go to the negative side, but I had this
but I will.
that I kind of always knocked me. Like, she ain't doing that. She ain't graduated from college. She ain't doing this. Whatever. She ain't got a amount for nothing. I just had this naysayer like that really, really just got under my skin, that instead of doing everything that was said, I did the opposite. And being a military brat, I really didn't have too many boundaries with black and white, this and that. You know, I've seen all the colors, all the races. I'm hanging around them. My school was on a base. It was mainly mixed. Everybody was just anybody. I really didn't kind of have any racism until we got out the Army. And then I was getting beat up by the black girls in the neighborhood. And then then my mama had to escort me to school every day because those girls are like, oh, you think? But then it was when I had to stand up for myself. Then I was like, all right, let's go. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of running. Let's go. After that, they left me alone. But other than that, I just had that one person that always said something. So I just had to prove that person wrong by just doing what I do. And I don't know, I've never been I'm not a follower. I've never been a follower. My mom's always told me to be a leader. So I've never been a follower. So it don't matter. I don't care what you're wearing or what you're doing or what you're not. I just do me. That's just how I roll. So
I love that. I love that about you.
Yeah, I just do me. I'm crazy. Y'all know that. Yeah, like Toya's the goofy one. I'm like, that's me. I don't care. What you got, Kate?
Well,
You're breaking up. He's breaking up.
Internet connection.
I think it's the internet connection. I think he'll hop back on. While he's
okay,
back on, I'll share. I know even in writing the book, one of the educators that really drew upon and made a huge impact on my life was Miss Green, my very first teacher. And I speak about that story in the book because she, first grade, I was my parents, 6 years old, going through a divorce. Life as you know it is changing. And of course, within the school environment, that may manifest itself by behaviors or, different things. But Miss Green, at the time, a white teacher who, back up in kindergarten, I did not have a good experience at all.
Right.
I didn't have a really good experience. There we go. I didn't have a good experience at all with in kindergarten. So I went in kind of a little apprehensive. And so I was able to talk to Miss Green, and she came and said, hey, what's going on? She eventually got to know that my parents were going through a divorce, that some of the things I was feeling were not normal. And I had to kind of be walked through that because a 6-year-old really know how to control their behaviors, how to control their emotions. I just knew life for me was not the same.
Right.
And so some kids, they are resilient, but it took some others a little while. And for me, it took a while. And she was able to really notice that about me. I remember her coming to my house, driving up in our driveway at the end of the school year and bringing me this lovely bag of goodies, games, things like that. But she showed me that even when I'm not at home, I had like a ride or die, a champion at school that believed in me, because at home, whatever my parents was going through, obviously I wasn't getting when I'm not at home during these circumstances, but it allowed that support for me to continue and be right on track. You know, I didn't need to be or I was able to focus. And her love was able to motivate me to come to school every day in first grade.
That's beautiful.
You know, and that took my mind off of the clutter, all the things that were going on. And that is why school is so powerful, because it becomes this outlet for to express themselves, find themselves, figure out what they like, what they don't like. And like Harrison said, it's not up to us to decide or do any of that for them. It's their life. All we're here is to facilitate, guide, build that confidence. So when they go out in the world, they know we got their back, and they have a tribe behind them that believes in them, and that mistakes are going to happen. It happened to me, but it's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. Well said, Karen.
Who's next? Who needs to share a story? Who's ready for some story time? Is it Miss Danielle? You got a story? You live with your sister. They sisters, by the way, y'all.
Look at Toya. Dang. Thank you, Toya.
I think Toya's had too much Cinco de Mayo.
Tequila. Let's get I was responsible and safe, guys. Responsible and safe. I don't have my car keys.
Go ahead, Danielle. We want to hear your story.
Oh, I just have a shout out to Children's Defense Fund. It's an organization that it's an organization that I worked with in college, and I really loved everything it stood for. So you guys need to Google Children's Defense Fund, CDF, Freedom Schools. That's where I started. I did internships with them, and it really just changed my life. Just meeting Miss Edelman. It's been years, y'all, but that whole situation changed my whole life. You can go to YouTube and you can type in Freedom Schools on YouTube, and they had cheers and chants that we taught the kids. So it was basically like a reading program that we would deliver to children at risk youth. So I learned a lot about like the kids and our community, and I got to teach them reading skills. But it really changed their lives as well as mine. So I love Children's Defense Fund.
Heck yeah, Danielle. I'm looking it up right now and just reading the Google description. I'm like,
and one day we're going to have our own Freedom Schools. It's just a summer program, and an organization will sponsor the program, I believe. But we're going to get a Freedom Schools because it is an amazing experience. And we were we were quite a diverse in our team, coming from Beaumont, Texas and Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
So they have them all over the US. It's really amazing. I want all the kids to go so they can have an opportunity to do that in college, and they can, be an intern. It's cool.
Right. Danielle, I like what you said about the fact that you said that it provides an opportunity. And like I said, as I'm reading the write-up, because when you say Google it, like I literally was like, okay, let me Google it right now because I'm going to forget. But if you said that it was impactful, I'm like, I want to read about this right away, or at least see what it is. And it's interesting that you would say that, because what I'm noticing here, just in this brief description, is that it says it reduces the impact of poverty on children, right?
Yeah.
It protects children from abuse and neglect, and it provides them with educational, what you just said, opportunities. what I think is so interesting and so amazing and so just, oh my God, and so profound about organizations like this, they help to level the playing field.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we all have our weaknesses. We all have our disadvantages. If we really sit down and we think about it, like Toya said, if we stay in our own lane, that'll keep us plenty busy because we have our own issues that we have to deal with. And if I worry about my own issues, I won't have to worry about anybody else's, right? But if we stay in our own lane and we just kind of stay right there and focus on ourselves, we'll find out that we all have these issues. But kids come to school, they all come to one place to get one thing. But everybody's coming from so many different backgrounds. You got the rich who feel like they're so much better and so much more advantage than kids who are obviously poor. And those poor kids seem to shy away from, you know, they don't want to be the ones to answer the question, raise their hand because they don't want to call attention to themselves. You have the kids who are really, really smart, who are in class, and they not only are they the teacher's pet, but they're going to dominate the entire conversation like I have a tendency to do. And shut up, Toya. And then you have those who are not so smart, but they still have something that they want to say, but they can't. My point of saying all that is when you have organizations like this who seek to level the playing field, who seek to provide an opportunity for people who wouldn't have had it otherwise. I mean, my hats are off to organizations like that. Like, I mean, big shout out to Children's Defense Fund. Absolutely.
Yeah, she worked with Martin Luther King Jr. and like so many other people. And I met her and I was on a flight back with her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I noticed Miss Edelman, she was on the plane with us and it was an amazing experience. And I love being Black after all that. I mean, it was just amazing experience.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
What I was hearing about the other day about that when you just said, Andrea, about the kids that are able to not talk up those kids like that feel shameful. I told her, I said, we need to talk about teacher shaming.
Yeah.
That's where teachers be like, oh, so you didn't know the answer in front of other people? Like,
right.
You can't do that as a teacher. Do you like to be called out like that? What if you were in a meeting with your boss and your boss says, so you were late again? Why didn't you answer your email in front of Jim Bob and Bobo show so that they can go in the corner and be like, girl, she got to talk to you? Like,
right.
I had a principal in Houston real quick, and he would make sure that if whatever we did with our that was done with our staff would be done with our kids. So if we couldn't call out anybody in a meeting, and it was actually called out during a meeting, a lady had like called on somebody to answer a question, and she had to come back at that next meeting and apologize to him because he didn't raise his hand. She just called on him, and he was actually one of our ESL team members that had just joined our school. But he made sure at every single meeting we had, our culture of our school, we could not call kids out. He made sure that if we had anxiety about it, our kids wouldn't have it either. And so I love that principal. I miss him.
Yes, I love that too.
Me too.
I can't wait to be a boss again.
Me too, girl.
I'm just saying, I got things to talk about. I got things, I want to restructure some things. I don't like teacher shaming. I just can't do it. I don't like it. Because I know that I couldn't have it.
Yeah, and that brings a good point because sometimes life's best teachers are sometimes the worst because I got into education because of some of the experiences that I had that were not so positive. And so I think a lot of us now are in education because we may have had some experience and we're like, man, I'm going back there to change the world and change it and do it this way and make kids feel loved because I didn't feel loved in school. You know, I didn't say your hair's cute. They just say, why is your nose big? Why is your hair this way? Why is your skin scar darker than ours? You know, differences that made me feel like an outcast and like as if I could not speak up. So I made a vow and commitment when I became an educator that I would never make a kid feel the way that that I felt as a student. You know, in history, for it to just be, we about to just stand and copy these notes on the projector, and that was it. I was like, oh, heck no. My kids are, you know, be a box cut out and be acting like they're having the news and are about to be reporters today. You know, I bring it to life because it was not brought to life, and I couldn't even see myself in history. You know,
Right.
I didn't really get to learn about my history or myself until I got older, out of high school and away. You know, for it to be really woken up to say, I'm a part of this experience too, because
Yeah.
I was sitting on the outside watching. Nobody really included me, and so
Right.
that's what I to, and I think that is the beauty of it, and that a lot of us are birthed from that fixed mindset of teaching, and now they're all like having growth mindset, and that's and it's because of the experiences we had, but it taught us what we know, and it brought us to where we are today.
Yeah.
Are y'all ready for another topic?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So I've got the Educators Roundtable, and this is our random 2 topic. Let's see. Okay, so this says being, let's see. Can y'all see that?
Come down.
Being blank in America. So who wants to fill in the blank?
Well, Mariah brought up a topic the other day in the car. She said, Mom, with all this coronavirus stuff going around, she was like, you know who I feel for the most right now? And I was like, no, who do you feel for the most right now? She's like, well, I know that African Americans used to be discriminated against all the time, but we're not really the focus right now. I said, okay, so who do you feel sorry for? She said, I just feel sorry for all the Asian people. She was like, because it's like, she said there were memes and stuff out there, and she even had a couple friends make comments about that every time they went, first of all, they said they were going to stop eating Chinese food, and they weren't, even after the coronavirus, they weren't going to get their nails done anymore because Ling Ling may have coronavirus. They're the ones who brought it over. Like little racist comments like that. You're out in public and you see an Asian person and immediately you're scowling at them because you're like, your people, y'all brought it here. That's the reason why we're going through all this. And I was actually in Walmart, and a lady actually said something to that effect to a Asian lady and her 2 kids. And she said something like, yeah, you're the reason we're going through all of this. And I'm like, oh my God. So I told Mariah, I said, but I'm in Alabama. So I'm sorry, as much of a Bible Belt as we are, what we ought to be focusing on is our hypocrisy. We're also the biggest hypocrites. But anyway, here we are in the Bible Belt, and we're so quick to judge. And you hear things like that all the time, whether it's against a Black person, whether it's against a Hispanic person. But like Mariah said, right now she feels bad because being Asian in America right now is not comfortable. She doesn't think.
Yeah. No, I agree. My daughter already says it. Like, I see all the little TikTok things and the things that she talks about. Yeah, my daughter brought it up to me too.
Wow.
And I just went, girl. I said, I know. I said, they've gone through the concentration camps too when they were in California. I remember that history moment too, the historical moment.
Yeah.
My thing is being a woman in America right now. Or should I say being a stay-at-home mom in America right now. That's my issue that I'm going through. But that's for another platform.
Was that bad or good, Toya? Being a stay-at-home mom right now?
Honestly, I'm glad that everybody stay at home because then I don't get criticized, quite frankly.
Well, I'm not stay-at-home.
I feel like I gotta, hey, like I said, talk time with Toya. I got all these different hats I gotta wear. I gotta be the dutiful wife. I got to be the housewife worker. I gotta go do this. I gotta do this. It's so much that I'm like, you don't see that I have to, like, even if I went out on the work field and then been hanging out with all those kids and then come home and got to manage my own kids and then my own household, then clean, then cook, then this.
Yeah.
Like being a woman in America, I got all these different hats. I got to wear it all time. I drop one hat, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, guess you can't hack it. Oh, you can't. It's a long story. That's for my episode of Talk Time with Toya. Tune in.
I think those are both great points. And one thing of value is what we have to start doing. It's because a lot of people feel that it's okay to make those comments and they feel comfortable around certain people. And I know I've been at fault of that before, is that they feel comfortable making those comments around you. And so now we come to a spot where we have to kind of let them know that's not okay. Like, agree with you because sometimes when we're silent, that also is an answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on 1 second, because it was so funny. I was watching Seinfeld last night, right, on Hulu. I said y'all should watch it. I forgot. I think it's season 8. Okay, so Jerry's dentist came into the restaurant. You know, they come into the coffee shop, and he goes, "Hey guys, I've converted. I'm a Jew." And they were like, "Okay, you're a Jew? You know, like you just decided to become a Jew?" He goes, "Yeah, you know, I just did my confirmation, blah, 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 you know, like that." So then fast forward, Jerry goes to the dentist. The dentist is making all these Jewish jokes. He's like, "A Jewish guy and a so-and-so walk in a bar." He goes, "What? I can say it. I'm Jewish." You know? He's like, "I think that he became Jewish just so he can make Jewish jokes." He's working on that episode trying to figure out. So then you see Jerry, he goes to a Catholic priest, he knocks on the thing and he goes, "Okay, I got a confession, but it's not a confession. I'm really not a priest. I mean, I'm really not Catholic. I'm Jewish, but I got to tell you about the guy who used to be Catholic." He was like, "Your dentist." He goes, "I think that he only became Jewish so he can make Jewish jokes." And the dentist was like, "Well, give me an example of this Jewish joke." So Jerry says the Jewish joke. And then the priest start laughing. He goes, "Why are you laughing?" He goes, "Well, it was funny." And then he goes, "Well, I got a joke for you about Dennis." So he says the joke about Dennis. So then the Catholic priest goes to the dentist's office and says the joke to the dentist. The dentist gets mad. Jerry shows up for his root canal and he was like, "You don't need no pain medicine. I heard that joke you said about Dennis." He goes, "You're saying it about Jews." He goes, "I'm Jewish." You guys gotta watch it. I'm done. Oh, you gotta watch it. It's fun.
I'm done. Well, you know, and shout out to all the teachers. Look, in the spirit and in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, what about being a teacher in America right now? Shout out to all those teachers who, you know, just mastered his or her content area, had just gotten classroom management down pat, just figured out that grade book, just figured out how to do a mass email without, you know, any typos, just got that one parent off her back, just got that other. And now, these teachers are having to play technologist. I feel so bad. I've talked to several teachers who are like, "Andrea, I am basically tied to my district laptop all day long because even though I've submitted lessons, I have lessons online, but I've also had to do paper packets and I've got to get that and I've got to grade that. I've got to answer all these emails from parents asking me to clarify. I've got to answer text messages. They want me on Class Dojo. They want me to be on WebEx. And I'm just trying to do all these things." And she said, "Man, I thought being in the classroom was hard." She was like, "Then I've got parents who are messaging me, wanting me to troubleshoot their electronic problems." She's like, "I don't know. I have an iPad." This lady's like, "Well, I have an RCA. Do you know how to turn it off or turn it on? Do you know how to mute it?" You know, she's like, I don't know." You know, she's like, the lady's like, "Well, you ought to know about an RCA if you know about an Apple." She's like, "I don't know." You know, she's like, "Well, do you know how?" "Ma'am, I don't know." So the fact that these teachers are having to wear so many different hats right now, they don't get to be off. I was telling somebody this the other day. They said, "Man, I would feel good being a teacher. I'm getting paid and I don't have to go to work." No, they're getting paid and their life is literally not their own anymore. It used to not be their own, at least after school. But now, all day long, it's like there's no boundaries to it like it used to be. At least you would go to school and you're like, "Okay, I got to be there at 7:45. School gets out at 3:30. I'm done by 3:45. Maybe I'll answer an email or two this evening," but it was kind of like the choice was yours. But now that there is no time constraint or whatever, it's all day. It's all day. So shout out to the teachers. Being a teacher in America right now, I know that it's not easy. I appreciate you. I know my daughter emails her teachers like, I'm like, "Girl, give her a break." She hasn't emailed me back. Let me just send another email. Let you just not send another email. Put the phone down, Mariah. Put the phone down. So shout out to all of y'all. Y'all are really working hard. You're doing more than I'm sure you signed up to do.
Teachers are awesome. We want to continue to shine a light on the hard work that they're doing. We know that there's going to be lots of changes in August. We're not even sure how August is going to look like. And that's causing lots of anxiety for not only teachers, but if we're feeling it, we know the kiddos are feeling it. So as we kind of move through this week, check us out on Barrier Breakers. Be sure to write your comment, like, share, we just want to kind of enjoy and engage in this conversation with you guys on the road to equity. So every Tuesday, be sure to tune in right here on Facebook Live. It's been a wonderful, wonderful chat of educators coming together, sharing experiences, and hopefully we're learning, and we hope to start including you soon, very, very soon on this conversation. So thanks for watching. You can watch Facebook Live, watch the playback on the videos we post, and check out the Road to Equity podcast. All right, guys, let's do it. Bye, and we'll see you next Tuesday.